My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. It was meant to be a 50-over contest and hence add 50 plus 50 equals 100 overs. That's what the duration of these matches is supposed to be. And for the first time in this tournament, it's actually gone all the way to 100 overs. 640 runs scored, and that's been a phenomenal finish to this game. There you have a look at it. 639 to be exact. Bangladesh putting on just a few too many for South Africa and picked up wickets at regular intervals. A 21-run victory at the end, the second time that they've managed to beat South Africa. They've beaten England as well in World Cup history. And of course, before I go to my guests, I need to gloat for a few seconds because the My 11th Circle expert couch is in my possession. There you can see it. Only just if KG Rabada or Imran Tahir had managed to sneak 2 more runs, then it would have belonged to Harsha Bhogle. Harsha?
So you only just gloated?
I only just gloated. A gloat's a gloat.
Listen, you spend half your life in Bangladesh. If you can't get it right, who can?
Exactly. And I apologize. I got a lot of stick for my prediction of 205. Of 205, 206. So apologies to all those fans. I said I would make up for it, and that was my prediction. I'm on the couch. You've won. Celebrate. And let me into the country once again because I've got lots more time to spend over there. But Robin Uthappa also there. Robin, it was one of those games where they had enough on the board, but they needed to control it with their spin, and they did that, and Fizz being the bonus.
Absolutely. I think the spinners bowled really well in that innings. I think also the captain really utilized his spinners really well. He rotated the bowlers very well, and credit must be given to him and also to the way Fizz bowled. I think he bowled out of his socks today.
I think it's fair to say that Bangladesh had the Fizz and South Africa didn't. South Africa were flat. Bangladesh had the Fizz.
Yep, I mean, and that's not just a play on words, I can tell you that, because we mentioned this at the halfway stage, that there was something about a flatness to South Africa. It was the body language that was lacking. It was a few tantrums almost being thrown from the captain downwards, and I think this card says a lot. Saifuddin went for a few runs early. Don't let those numbers fool you. He came back well later on. Mashrafi Mortaza was perhaps the only one, but there was not enough batting around to target him. But those 2 wickets to Saifuddin, 3 to Mustafizur Rahman, who was absolutely outstanding. And I think somehow we don't give enough credit because of our T20 diet. When you see 50 runs being given away, remember, it's 10 overs for 50 runs. Shakib Hassan.
You generally look at how much the opposition scored. Now, Bangladesh scored 330 in 50 overs. That's, what, 6.6, right? Now, therefore, par for the team bowling is 10 over 66. So if you bowl 10 overs 50, you've given your side 16 runs extra to play with. You've given your other bowlers 16 runs to play with. So to that extent, it's a wonderful score, plus the 1 wicket that he took. But I agree entirely with Robin. I'm just looking down these numbers. 26 overs of spin. So he managed spin very well. He also realized that he was very undercooked today, Mashrafi. He wasn't bowling well at all. So he managed to get 8 out of Saifuddin. So he got the 20 between Musaddiq, Mashrafi and Saifuddin. I think against a side that's batting better than South Africa did today, that might be a potential danger point for Bangladesh.
It could be.
And I can see how much they're revolving around Mustafizur and the 2 spinners. But this is not the day to talk about it. This is a day to say well played.
Yep.
Well played, Bangladesh. It was fantastic. I mean, they played like they were the favourites, when a lot of us thought before the start that South Africa were favourites, because this opens up a lot of questions for South Africa.
And a lot of the areas we talked about, we've obviously discussed the bowling because that's fresh in the memory. Talked about Shakib Hassan, the bowler. We saw what he did with the bat. But one more name to mention, because at the stage when there were 4 overs left, let me remind you, South Africa and Bangladesh were level.
Yep.
And Bangladesh had a finisher in Mahmudullah Riyad, and those 54 runs were invaluable in the context of where South Africa were.
100%. I think that's what made the difference. Yes. Also, I think we forgot to mention one bowler, Mehdi Hassan, bowled 10 overs.
Just look at that, 10 overs, 44. It's fantastic.
For 1 wicket. I thought he bowled really well. I think the wicket that he took of Faf du Plessis, I think that was a game changer for Bangladesh, because they were on course still at that point in time. And good captaincy again by
bringing
long off in to mid off, to entice him to go after that ball, and he bowled that ball really well. So credit must be given to him. 10 overs, 44 for 1 wicket. Beautiful bowling.
Look at the pluses for Bangladesh in this game. Shakib got runs, bowled well. Mushfiqur Rahim got runs. Mahmudullah finished well. Mehdi Hassan bowled well. They got 8 overs out of Saifuddin at just over par. And Mashrafi led beautifully. So there's 5 or 6 pluses for Bangladesh in a game. You look down South Africa, how many pluses did South Africa? Very few in the bowling. Ngidi went off. You don't know if he'll be fit again. So there were very few pluses for South Africa. There wasn't a dominant performer there. Maybe Faf if he had stayed on a little longer.
Yeah.
So I think that could well have been the turning point in the game, the wicket of Faf. But there weren't those many pluses for South Africa.
Also, you get a general feel of how South Africa are, and the mood in the camp is, right? It seems a little dull. It seems a little flat, like we mentioned a few minutes ago. I just think that they're going to find it hard to derive inspiration from this point in, because
Robbie, would it be fair to say, since you mentioned Mashrafi, that we talked about how there were easy runs available for Bangladesh when they were batting in those middle overs, when Shakib and Mushfiqur were batting.
Yeah.
Whereas when South Africa were batting, it was those overs that Mashrafi tended to close the game.
He actually did that well. But I think another thing that the Bangladesh batsmen did really well compared to the South Africans were that in those middle overs, they were being a little more aggressive than the South Africans were. I think the South Africans were in the mindset of taking it down to the last 6 or 7 overs and then trying to run the score down. But if they were a little more aggressive in the middle overs, perhaps they would have had lesser to get in the last 4.
That 11 to 25 phase, even if you say let's play conservatively in the first 10, fine, 51 for 1, we'll give it to them. The run out was unfortunate. But 11 to 25, 84 for 1, there could have been another 20, 30 runs in that phase, perhaps. Just to lay that platform and not cause jitters later on.
I mean, that's the perception. Having said that, the scores were level after 46 overs.
But that was also when Faf got out. So, that was when they lost Faf at that stage. So, obviously, I think they had to slow down again and then pick up the ante again. So, somewhere along the line, I think in the middle overs, Bangladesh got it more right than South Africa did.
This was supposed to be a 350 World Cup. That's not happened yet. 330 was a very good score. We thought finger spinners would struggle. We got 26 overs of finger spin. In fact, 20 overs of very high quality finger spin for 94 runs. So it just tells you that it's not about wrist spin or whatever. It's just about good bowlers doing well.
And the key wrist spinner in the game, playing a landmark game for himself, didn't exactly end up doing much. But I think one more point to be made for Bangladesh's victory. In the past, we remember their victory in the 1999 World Cup against Pakistan. A lot of victories in the past have come with a little bit of bad weather, low-scoring games. They somehow sneak home. But this domination of putting big runs on the board, having finger spinners, quick bowlers performing, and that overall performance, not saying it's rare, but it's something that they look back and say we've ticked so many boxes going ahead.
It is. It's the kind of win I think that will fill them with confidence going ahead. And South Africa, you've got to think where do they go from here? There was a picture right at the end with the physio, and on either side were 2 people. The physios probably spent a lot of time with you know Greg King.
Greg King is the trainer.
Yeah, the trainer. Sorry, it was a trainer there. Yes. It was a trainer there. Either side of him were Hashim Amla and Dale Steyn. Now, both will presumably play against India.
Yes.
But if South Africa have to come out of this quicksand they're in, then they need those 2 experienced players to help them.
They need inspiring performances right now, and I think that's what will kind of light up the mood in that dressing room. So I think that's what they really need. They're in desperate need of that.
That's the reason they need it, because it's a big one coming up on the 5th of June.
And I don't think they're gonna get that against India. Not just yet.
Well, that's the thing. Now they go there.
Got just 2 days for Ngidi to recover.
Yeah, so let's assume Ngidi is a non-starter. Let's assume that. If Amla's okay and if Steyn's okay, do they have the mettle, based on what we've seen from the rest of the team today, to come out as wounded tigers? We've heard that expression in the past in World Cups. Can they become those wounded tigers,
We
lions?
don't know how good Steyn is, how good Steyn is going into this. If he was really fit, they would have played him today. So clearly he was not fit to play today.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was fit, they would have played him today. That means he'll just be about ready. As Robin said, you need to bowl 10 overs. He's probably bowling those in practices.
Yeah, he has to bowl about 10 to 12 overs before he's considered completely 100% match fit. But a guy of his stature, I think, will even go in if he's 95% against a team like India, given the situation South Africa are in at this point in time.
But can he dominate a game?
Oh, you can't write him off. But I wouldn't write off any cricketer, but especially with the caliber of Dale Steyn. But I think he might be a little rusty initially, but before he comes into his own.
How much will, at the moment, I mean, they're going to go back and know that it's a historic loss almost of sorts early in this World Cup. Will they already start talking about Southampton? And what are the kind
Maybe
of
not tonight, but if you're South Africa, you're a fan. Forget being the South African camp.
Yeah.
You're a fan, right? You're a fan. You're thinking, right? For us to get to the semi-final, we need 5 or 6 wins. So who are the danger teams in the group? Maybe England is a danger team. Maybe Australia is a danger team. Maybe India is a danger team. West India on their day. Maybe Pakistan on the day. Where are our banks coming from? Where are points coming from? Our points are coming maybe from Afghanistan. Maybe our points are coming against Bangladesh.
Sri Lanka.
Maybe our points are coming against Sri Lanka, right? You would have said, okay, 6 points are coming from there. We have to reach 10 or 12.
Yeah.
But those 6 are coming. But now they've lost from one of the teams they thought the points were coming against.
For me, with all due respect to all the other teams in Asia right now, I think Bangladesh is the second best team in Asia after India. And I think due respect must be given to them. I don't think we should speak in the terms of historic wins anymore. I think they're a formidable side, a side to contend with. I don't mean any disrespect, Gautam, but I just I just
suddenly the Bangladeshi in the studio.
I just feel that they've been performing really well over the last 12, 16, 20 months, and I think that the fact that they have so many experienced players who've played World Cups repeatedly in their lineup is one of the reasons that they are where they are right now.
Bangladesh's problems will come in 2023.
Yep.
Because by 2023, we don't know if Shakib, Mushfiq definitely won't be there. We don't know if Tamim, Shakib and Mushfiq would still be playing 2023. But now they're at the top. They're all very experienced, as he said.
They probably will play the 2023.
Yeah, perhaps. You never know.
Yeah, they probably will play the 2023.
I think what Shakib Al-Hasan has said after the game kind of goes along with what we've been discussing. And the first thing he said is we've had upset wins in the past, the kind of upsets we were alluding to, a la Pakistan 1999. Right. But this time he said we were almost coming out saying we needed that big start and we got it. What upset? We are here with 10 teams to compete. We've just won game number 1. Simple as that.
You can look at your first game 2 ways. You can either say, let me get a nice simple game. Australia playing Afghanistan, right? We're easing our way into the World Cup. What did India do in 2015? India had South Africa, Pakistan as the first 2 games. Can you imagine the confidence if you win those 2 games? Bangladesh will be feeling a bit like that at the moment. Tough first game. You know what? We won a tough first game. So guys, everyone look at us now.
Yeah.
And won it so confidently. I mean, it scored more than England did, because England also beat South Africa on the opening day. And 311 versus
surface.
330, same surface, same ground. And so they'll be saying, okay, we've done one over England in that sense. So we are kind of almost top of that tree, and now we're the...
I wouldn't go on to say that Bangladesh should be thinking like that. I'd definitely say that, they got off to a fantastic start and they'd want to keep that momentum. I've had to even swallow my own words and say that, I didn't root for them today. I, in fact, rooted for South Africa. Maybe my emotions got ahead of me. But I really think that Bangladesh have really come into their own as a contending side in this World Cup.
Yeah, I believe I'm hearing that the 2 gentlemen we saw with Greg King have gone straight out. That's the reason they were probably waiting for the match to finish, to the practice wickets to have a little bit of a hit. Dale Steyn certainly has gone out there.
I hope his shoulder's good.
Yeah,
I hope his shoulder's good because they'll need it.
It's good news for South Africa. Much needed that, They could
because when he came back after the big shoulder injury, he'd been out for a long time.
Yeah.
And he was bowling at a pretty decent pace.
He was, yes. I think he was very wise about how he dealt with that injury as well. I think he made sure that he was 120% fit before he came back. And I think, he was not just 100% fit. He wasn't in any hurry to come back.
I remember on these shoulder injuries, I remember talking to Anil Kumble, and he said always better take 1 month more than 1 month less.
Yeah.
Because
I think with any injury for that matter, it's better to come back 120% fit than to come back 95% fit. No point rushing it, because it's only going to do more harm than good. I think for any injury for that matter, as far as injuries are concerned, I think if any athlete or anyone even outside, it gives you an opportunity to really make that part of your body stronger than it ever was. And athletes really respect that fact. So athletes, when they get, the wiser ones, when they get an injury, they're not in a hurry to come back. They really want to look after themselves and make sure that they're 100% fit. So I'm pretty certain that even if Steyn was, say, 95% fit today, he would have opted out himself and said, no, let me save myself for India.
Yes, a couple of gentlemen in the Bangladesh team know a thing or two about coming back from injuries. Leading the pack, of course, is their captain. But for the moment, we'll talk about my 11 circle MVP of the game. Unanimous, pretty much, that it was going to be Shakib Al-Hasan for an all-round performance. Yes, even before Mahmudullah came and gave that finishing touch. 75 of 84. sometimes you look at that strike rate and say, okay, we're under 100, but under the circumstances, it's exactly what they needed to get that platform for Mahmudullah to do what he did.
Normally, you see a number 4 batting like that. Number 3 can be a bit of a dasher, but 75, 84 balls is absolutely fine because they kept wickets and scored at a strike rate of 90.
Yeah.
Which is
and he had Mushfiqur at one end, and then he knew he had that finishing touch. He didn't know who it would come from, but in the end it came from Mahmudullah. So he had that. And then when he came out with the ball, the wicket of Makram is what he got. And overall, 44 from Mehdi Hassan Miraj and 50 from Shakib al-Hasan. So 20 overs under 100.
Yeah, that was the most important part, I thought. And I think that's where South Africa kind of got it wrong, where I think they were a little too quiet in those middle overs. They could have, with those 5 fielders inside the circle, I think they could have taken a little bit more of a chance. I think once Faf got out, I think they felt a little bit more under pressure and then tried to take it down to the
I'm just seeing what Faf said. He said, where are we? He said the thinking of the toss was assuming there'd be a lot of pace and bounce against the subcontinent side. So that's why they brought in Chris Morris. And Chris Morris has carried his form from the IPL there because he had a game to forget. He didn't bat well in the IPL either. And you said he was down in pace a little bit. In the IPL too.
Yeah, I just felt like, got an inkling that he might be trying to conserve himself for the World Cup. That tends to happen when you're playing the most prestigious tournament in the world, right? So, I had a sense that when I played him that he was slightly slower than he was usually in the IPL.
Yeah, Faf said you think they're firing at 50-60%.
Yes, and of course he's the only one. He did use the word upset, which in all fairness, if you look at world rankings, etc., it is technically an upset. We're obviously saying Bangladesh are a very different side. They're playing better cricket, confident cricket, so hence it's a victory for them as opposed to what we used to call as upsets. But it's fair for Faf to say it because technically it is.
I mean, to be fair, he lost a lead bowler early on too.
Yeah.
So when Bangladesh got 54 of the back 4, if he had a fully fit Ngidi, they probably wouldn't have got the 54.
Yeah.
But Bangladesh played whoever there was bowling at them. It's not their...
Credit must be given to them.
Yeah, give them the
Certainly did. And you had to pick the right kind of people here to, if you had to keep Dada Kavada, the My 11 circle... the beat the expert. My 11 circle beat the expert. That's the big one. Saurav Ganguly picks his team and you have to make sure you get more points than his team does. And then you get 5 times the amount. And today with, again, 371.75, that's a serious amount of points that you can get. We're all playing the game, so we know what kind of area we're in. So Ram Singh
ji Rajasthan se aaye.
Rajasthan.
Ram Singh ji Rajasthan se aaye. Bahut khoob Ram Singh ji.
Good. That must make him feel good with the outside of the heat that people are experiencing in Rajasthan. 51 degrees, I heard. It's crazy.
I mean, in Hyderabad they said 44, 45. Delhi hit 47 the other day, 46, 47.
Yeah.
Yes. Studio's not bad.
I've heard that in Rajasthan, cars refuse to work like during the day because it's so hot. The ACs just don't work.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's time to look at where we stand in the tournament. That's going to be vital because South Africa won't want to look at this points table at the moment because you'll see that the only team who have played 2 games so far still to register a point. Right up there, we've got the West Indies, New Zealand and England and of course Bangladesh. We will add those 2 points to that. It is 1 victory. So there are 2 points to be put in there. Don't get angry, Bangladeshis. We're putting it in there. That's
Gee, you really nurse your constituency, man. You're really nursing your constituency.
We put it right.
There
it takes a second to put things right. That's where we are with that. I mean, we're not going to worry about net run rate for the moment. It's a solid victory against a big team like South Africa, and they are the ones who will worry. The only one with a 0 on the board at the moment is because we are building up to that big one. India's first game, it's going to be against that same opposition. South Africa's 3rd game at Southampton in a few days' time. But for the moment, we're going to let that be on the back burner because we'll look ahead to what's imminent. That is going to be a big one. It's going to be England taking on Pakistan from Trent Bridge in Nottingham. That's familiar territory for Pakistan's batsmen, not in the best sense of the word.
I think it's home away from home for Pakistan because I think Nottingham is...
It should be.
It should be.
But just going by what happened the last game around...
Correct. Now, the last time there was a game played at the Oval, there was pace and bounce, and Jofra Archer bowled really quick, but that didn't happen today. So Pakistan will be hoping. Pakistan will be hoping things can change, but they're up against a side that has seen what happened. The way Pakistan played the short ball, and actually Robin's more qualified to talk about that, but the way Pakistan played the short ball, they almost advertised the fact, it was almost a welcome to everybody saying, come, come, this is the way to bowl at us. Everybody's going to bowl like that to Pakistan. So they've got to find a way of saying, right, we've set that up, now how can we make it our strength? Because they are going to come hard. Word is that they'll play Mahmood, who's got the extra pace to come in and bounce Pakistan. They really need someone at the top of the order to do that. Plunkett by himself, actually Plunkett bangs the ball in short too. So they're going to get a fair bit of pace coming their way.
So that's it. The names that we've got there, James Vince, Dawson Curran and Mark Wood are the ones who didn't play that previous game. So do you advocate any changes? Because there's no reason otherwise to disturb a winning combination, except to try and push Mark Wood in.
Wood for Plunkett if they think extra pace.
That was exactly what I was thinking, Wood for Plunkett. I think that's the only thing. If they make a change, I don't think they will. But if they do, I think that's what they go with.
Now, if you look at the opposition, if you look at Pakistan, we have said that despite what happened in their first game, they have the personnel to bounce back. Maybe Sri Lanka struggling slightly in that department, inexperienced captain. South Africa have a few problems, a few injuries. But from Pakistan's point of view, yes, we said a lot of negative things about what they did with their batting and how they were bounced out, but they've got the men to bounce back.
I'd love to know what's happening in that Pakistan camp at the moment, actually. At the best of times, what happens in the Pakistan camp is very, very interesting. Whenever we get Pakistan players in our studio, they're hugely entertaining. But I wonder if people like Shaheen Afridi and the others are sitting up there and saying, you know what, I was your best bowler for the last 12 months. And just because I played the warm-up games, you left me out. To which Fahim Ashraf might say, yes, that's the reason I'm not playing. Junaid Khan is saying, that's the reason I'm not playing. But did the other two come in and bowl well? Amir did, but not Wahab Riaz. What do you do with Hassan Ali? Do you leave out Wahab Riaz and get Afridi back? Do you leave out Hassan Ali now? There's a lot of people there who you might want to leave out. So how they're going to play? I don't know. I'm fairly certain Haris Sohail will go out.
So
I don't know if they'll play Shoaib Malik.
I think Shoaib Malik should be a part of this
experience.
squad.
I mean,
that's just that experience that he brings in that middle order. He'll hold that middle order together along with Mohammad Hafiz if he bats in the middle order, unless he goes up the order.
And Asif Ali, because he's a tonker at the end. But I wonder if they can think like that.
No, I don't think they'll make too many changes. Because it's just their second game. They'd want to just say the first game was a probably blip in the radar, and things would be better from here on in. So I think they'd want to go positive. They want to be a lot more positive. I think the one change that would be Shaheen Afridi for Wahab Riaz.
Two possible
actually,
changes.
Robin, you don't want to be making 5 changes, right?
You don't.
Because then
that's sending a wrong signal, right? So you don't want to be doing that.
Also, you briefly mentioned it. If, assuming a Shoaib Malik comes in and therefore he's that experience in the middle order, is Mohammad Hafiz, the professor, better served up the order?
Could be. It's definitely an option because he brings that versatility to that side. So he could be someone who bats up the order as well. So maybe someone along with
Hafiz 4, Sarfaraz 5, Shoaib 6.
Yeah.
They're very clear they want Sarfaraz to bat at 5 because they think he's using up deliveries at number 6 and not finishing strongly enough. So maybe Hafiz at 4, Sarfaraz at 5 and Shoaib Malik at 6. Because Shoaib, remember, plays a lot of T20 tournaments around the world. He can finish really well.
He should, yeah. And that's why I think he should be a part of this 11. I was quite surprised that he didn't make the first 11 in the last game.
Couple of son-in-law. Finally.
Yeah, son-in-law, yeah.
Hyderabad, son-in-law.
Yeah.
Couple of games that they played against England at Trent Bridge in the not too recent past. 444. We remember that game which they conceded. And then when they did put on 340, England chased it down.
Yeah, but they chased down with 3 balls left, I think, if I remember right. I think they chased it down with 3 balls left. Ben Stokes got those runs right at the end. That was the game Pakistan came closest to winning. Out of the 4 that they lost, that was the game they came closest to winning. So, I don't know. Do you do that sometimes? That even if you've lost, you say, right, but at that venue I played well. Does it lift you up, or is that just a good talking point?
Well, it's a good talking point. Yeah. But to be very honest, I think Pakistan's batting unit is stronger than its bowling unit, and which is not the norm in under normal circumstances with Pakistan. So, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what they're going to do. But my bet is I'd like them to bat second if they want to look to win.
Pakistan?
Yeah.
Even though traditionally they've not been chasers.
Yeah, they've not been chasers. Yeah. But you got to back your strengths, right? But also this tournament's a very IPL-esque tournament, right? Isn't the whole league stage, and so I don't think teams like South Africa and Pakistan and teams that are not having begun well should look at the scoreboard right now, should look at the points table right now, should just kind of say, okay, let's take one game at a time. Because even if you look at the IPL, the teams that start well, tend to lag off
It's
towards
a long
the end.
tournament.
It's a
South
long
South Africa
tournament.
should
And
just talk to the Mumbai Indians every
right,
time.
and it's also just it's a 6-week tournament, so it's pretty long. It's as long as the IPL.
Yeah, you make a valid point because earlier tournaments, you had 6 or 7 group stage games.
Yeah.
Uh,
Quarter semi.
If you've lost a couple at the start, you're pretty
yeah,
much...
but I know people are going to come hard at me. But a couple of those would have been in Ireland, or Scotland, or Netherlands. So you had really 4 tough games to play at. Now here you're playing 9. So it is a very IPL-esque World Cup. Is the right expression, where you've got time to come back. Time to come back into the tournament.
You can also upset like good teams,
Yeah.
And there's a possibility of that happening as well. Agreed that it's not T20, so you can't it's not like dependent on the day of who comes off and who doesn't. But in 50 overs, in 50 over cricket, you still have the opportunity to come back after making a mistake.
Did KKR win an IPL having lost 4 or 5 games earlier? But you won an IPL,
Yeah, both IPLs like that. So the one in 2014, we had to win 9 in a row to qualify, and we won because we lost the first 6. We lost 5 out of the first 6.
Yeah.
5 out of the first 6, and then we had to win 9 in a row.
Yeah.
5 out of the first 7. Then we had to win 9 in a row. We won 9 in a row, and then we hold the record for winning 12 or 13 in a row right now.
No, so the Mumbai Indians have done that. KKR have done that. I agree with Robin that it's a 20-over tournament. You can't extrapolate over 50 overs. But what that's telling you is in a long tournament, you've got time to come back.
Yeah.
And that's what South Africa and Pakistan and the others should be thinking about.
Yeah.
Which is also a message for all of you who have not yet gone onto your My 11 Circle teams and have not quite got the experience to play it. Robin Uthappa's a new entrant into that. He's going to start playing it against me, so we're going to have some fun there. I'm already playing, didn't do as well as our winner from Rajasthan did today, but it's very, very simple. Just select a match, create your own team, and look out for this man's team, because Zada Kavada is that you can win 5 times more cash if your team beats his team. And that gentleman got 371, and that's the kind, 350 plus, you're doing pretty well in this tournament. Just one more mystery to unravel right here, and that is our joy factor question. Yesterday we had a toughie, today we've had another one to start off this tournament. Let's quickly remind you what the question was, and it had to do with another record. It was a former bowling coach at the Australian Centre of Excellence held a World 50-over tournament batting record till it was finally broken against South Africa in 2007. The record, of course, was set in 2003, and it was sent by the gentleman from Canada. John Davison scored a century against the West Indies in just 67 deliveries, a spin bowling all-rounder. Suddenly he was announced on the world stage. The record was later broken, of course. And who's our winner? Remember, John Davison is the answer. It's not our winner.
It's an inside job. It's an inside job.
Rohit Yadav. Well,
He has hacked Joy Bhattacharya's quiz base, questions base.
I can tell you, if you've got
He's hacked it. He actually knows tomorrow's question already.
If you've got a Twitter handle that says @CricRohit, you know exactly what you're doing. Trust me.
Why don't you just drop him a little tweet, DM, and say, can you tell us tomorrow's question already?
Rohit, are you listening? Look for a DM coming your way, but of course we can get that conversation going, because we want all of you to come and join in this entire conversation.
Let's needle Joy a little bit. Remember what they said when Tiger Woods was doing well? They had to make the courses tiger-proof. So let's give Joy a challenge and say, come up with a Crick Rohit proof answer.
Crick Rohit proof answer, are you listening? But just as we welcomed Robin Uthappa for the first time on the program, it's time to say not goodbye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Till we meet again.
Till we meet again, because you're off to go center stage, and we'll be looking out for you on center stage and seeing you back here in the studio on the 15th. So
India, South Africa, I'll send you stuff on WhatsApp.
Yes.
What's happening this try
I might get some tips off him. Just a little.
Yeah, be neutral. No?
Yes.
Harsha.
Yes.
If you're sending him tips, then send some this side as well.
Listen, me in a commentary box and being neutral, there's stories associated with that. So I think I'll stay away from.
What a note. What a note to finish. Robin, I hope you've had a good first day.
I have. I've really enjoyed myself. I'm glad I got 50. I got 100 overs to experience.
You got a Bangladesh colour? You bought a Bangladesh colour as well?
Yeah, I did. I got that right. Thank you, Bangladesh.
I think just like you did in 2007, you should just
Well,
us
I
that
don't have a
again.
hat, but yeah, why not?
There you go.
Why not?
It's a great way to finish.
Remember to wear. You have these in many colors, right?
I do. I
Wearing
do.
blue on
Of
the
course
South
I am.
Africa Day?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I can tell you the fun's
Couldn't get
only
that
beginning. Harsha, we'll miss you for a few days, but we'll see you on center stage and back here on the 15th. Have a
Yes.
safe journey and
Thank
see you
you.
soon.
Thank
And
you. See you soon.
Robin, we'll see you very, very
Yes.
soon. That's My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you all for England, against Pakistan, and then later India
excitement.
versus South Africa.